Hello, everyone. My name is Alexa Brody, and I'm a recruiter and student affairs administrator at McGill University's Macdonald Campus. I'm here today with 4 current Macdonald Campus students talking about the real life of a Mac Campus student. So the panelists are going to go ahead and introduce themselves, tell us where you're from, what your name is, what you're studying, and any clubs that you're involved in at McGill and at Mac throughout your time here. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexa. My name is John, and my pronouns are he, him. And I did my undergrad in bioresource engineering, and then I did my master's as well in the same program. So now I'm currently finishing that up. And throughout my undergrad, I was involved in some clubs. One of them was like the tractor team that I'm like repping their hat right now. I went to high school in Pittsburgh, but I also grew up in Mississauga, Ontario area.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Okay, my name is Daphne. I use she, they pronouns. I'm in honors life sciences in microbiology and molecular biotechnology specialization. It's a long one. I'm in my 4th year and I'm an international student, so I'm from Turkey. I came here 4 years ago in the middle of winter. I was involved with FROSH, so the first year orientation events, 3 times. And then I was also president and VP Internal Affairs for our student society, MCSS. I organized events downtown and just general events at MAC.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Juan. I go by he, him. I am from here, Montreal. I grew up here pretty much all my life. I am in my 4th year as well in dietetics. I used to be in nutrition, but then switched to dietetics. And I've been involved with FROSH, such as Daphne. So I've been involved in the orientation week for the newcomers. But I'm also getting involved with everything that has to do with interfaculty competitions and things like that, repping Mac.
My name is Emma. I study environment at Mac. I'm a 1st year. I'm from right outside New York City. And so far, I've been involved in MCSS internal committee. So that's been amazing. And I also did tours with Alexa earlier in the year.
Yay. She sure did. Okay. So my first question for the group here, why did you choose McGill? So you came from the furthest. Why did you choose McGill?
Okay, so I was doing international baccalaureate in Turkey, and I decided to do sciences outside of Turkey. I had this whole spreadsheet actually with all of these universities, which state they're in, which province they're in, all of these things. That's
Beautiful.
it.
Did you know it was Mac?
I knew it was MAC.
Okay.
I actually applied to arts and sciences and then MAC. First accept arts and sciences. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to go to MAC. It sounds fun. There's some bird pictures in the website. I'm like, this might be cool. So I just chose MAC.
Beautiful.
I heard of McGill through my sister who went to McGill, but she went to the downtown campus. And I'm not that big of a fan of big cities. I like to live maybe outside of a big city and be able to visit it from time to time. But at the time I was kind of shy. So my sister, but then she told me that there was another campus and it had forests, kind of. and I asked her if they also had an engineering program, and then she said that they did. And I know in terms of engineering, regardless of the program, it's pretty standardized. Another thing too is I am kind of Anglophone, but I learned French when I was really little. And I wanted to try being in an environment where I can practice my French if I wanted to. So
Do you?
Yeah. I'm way better at French, especially Québécois French is I'm getting better at that too.
Oh yeah, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
Hello to the side.
Okay. Hi. So I also had a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet was open for probably 6 months on my computer screen. And McGill was not added to it until relatively late in the game, but I was I always knew McGill as an amazing school. I was just a little worried about the cold. But
From New York.
yeah, because I wanted to go somewhere warm initially.
Okay.
But I was relatively last minute, I added it onto the list. I sent my application out. I was like, okay, let's just have another door open. Maybe we'll see how things go. And I didn't know about Mac, so that was an accident, but definitely a happy accident. I'd say one of the happiest accidents of my life. Yeah, right? So I got in, and I made the decision that there were a lot of pros for McGill. So it's international, which is really exciting. There's a lot of people from all over the world, which is just, it makes for such good conversation and relationships, and then also like friends all over.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of interesting majors. So even if I want to study something else, I can, even though I think for now I'm good with environment. There's a lot of students, like undergrad in total, but Mac is also like a small community, so you get that like best of both worlds type of thing, which I really appreciate as well. But I think all of those things added up, and I was like, yeah, this is the school for me. And so I'm here, and I'm very happy with it.
I mean, for me, it was such a no-brainer. Growing up in Montreal, like, McGill is the one school that you just grew up with.
Yeah.
So, like, it really was for me. Like, I knew I wanted to go into English because I did, like, English schooling before, so I was just, like, determined to do that. And then, for me, really, like, it was a decision between, do I really want to go to Mac campus or not? Because
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with the West Island. Like, I know the West and everything, but I was like, do I really want to do that, or do I want to be like a downtown student? Since that's all I've been thinking. Like, I mean, I've been walking this campus like all my life, but it really was like the program. I was really convinced that I wanted to go into that, and then once I was at Mac, I just felt like there was no brainer in changing programs, and I'm really happy. So.
Yay. So we kind of talked about like what we like about Mac, but I'm going to ask more direct question. What are your favorite things about Mac? I think we mentioned like a little bit of the community, but if anyone wants to jump in or elaborate, the best of both worlds, as you were mentioning
I think
before.
the people.
People.
Honestly, it's the people that make the place. So you get to see familiar faces, and that is like something that you don't get everywhere. And I think that's my favorite part of Mac.
I totally agree.
I feel like this might be a little controversial, but there are.
Okay.
see.
Let's hear it.
Well, like, you always hear these things about MAG, like, oh yeah, the tight-knit community, and then until you actually come here, you're like, well, they're just saying it, so you know.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I mean, it really is cliche, but I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I mean, I went to Mac not knowing anyone, like zero, and so far, like, I feel like I've had so many like good interactions, so many like close friendships that I've made through the years now, and like as someone who has had classes downtown and at Mac, there really is like that a big difference between like being in a class with like 600 complete strangers than like maybe like 200, 100 students in one room that like you actually get to like interact with and stuff. So like there is like that like comfort that you have once you're at Mac and you are able to like feel home. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you first come to Mac, right, you have Frosh, right? And then you're like, wow, like this is so crazy. And you kind of like take things for granted that they just kind of happen.
Yeah.
And then like after you finish Frosh, they like ask you, like people are like, hey, we're recruiting. You're like, do you guys want to be like a Frosh leader? And you're like, oh wow, like I can participate to make these things happen. And then you start to notice that like the people around you are like it's very accessible to be involved in something.
And to explain to the audience, what is Frosh? Frosh is a week, actually, a Frosh leader, Cord, why don't you explain it?
What is Frosh?
Daphne, who's the mother of Frosh.
Yeah.
Frosh is the official explanation that you can also find on the website. It says, first year orientation week, we're going to have activities that introduces you Montreal, Mac campus, people in your program and other programs at Mac. So you meet upper year students, you get the tea, you know, what's going on at Mac, what's happening. And so you meet your best friends and you go live in Laird and then you talk about Frosh for 4 more years.
True. And Lugger.
Yeah.
So those connections last forever. Also, you're doing activities in St. Anne, like where Mac campus is, where there's restaurants and cafes, which we'll get to a little bit later. And then you also go downtown. You do all these events downtown too. So you and with other faculties. And I think like you get to meet all your Mac people, but you also feel a part of the downtown community and culture and events that are happening as well.
Yeah, and just to add on that, like, because we have a 7-day Frosh and we have activities from, like, playing, like, bubble soccer together to go to bouldering.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Went to bouldering, which is a big Mac, like, staple. But then Mac Frosh, you make those friendships, and then you go downtown, to meet other faculties while having like already made friendships, which I think is really good. You're not like a super total stranger in this like big city. But Juan, if you wanna add more.
Well, I was gonna add like another big part of Frosh, I would say, is that like we try to be as inclusive when it comes to like the diversity of our program, the outing activities, and living like the Montreal nightlife, if we may. But there's also like so many things that come like staples that we can only do at Mac, like canoe races. You're not gonna see that anywhere downtown. You're not gonna see like bouldering. You're not gonna see like bobble field soccer, like just like a bunch of things that we get to do because we have such a big campus,
Yeah.
like with big green spaces by the water and everything. That like that is also a big thing that we try to sell when we do Frosh at Mag, that we have like more than just like going out partying and staying up till late. There's also like, it's pretty much for anyone who
Like, people with different interests could attend the events that they wanted to,
Yeah.
which was really nice. And so, like, depending on if you were more like a going out person or like a nature person, you could pick and choose. And a lot of people really appreciated that.
I love the canoe races. That was one of my favorite events. And it's really close to the campus. So for those of you who've not, the audience who's listening, who's never been to Mac, the waterfront is like really close to the buildings. So you can go to the waterfront, you can canoe. We have paddle Mac, plugging them in.
Yes.
well, I mean, St. Anne is
Yeah.
such a cute
It's so
area.
cute.
Like, I mean, it's a residential town, and I mean, it's by the water. And
Yeah.
I do think St. Anne is beautiful in the summer when it has like all the restaurants with the terrace by the docks and everything. And I mean, it has like a bunch of like different little restaurants. A lot of the restaurants are like family owned.
There's restaurants like just a 10-15 minute walk away from Mac. Violet Angel's my favorite. The pizza place that has a terrace on the waterfront, and then there's the boardwalk, and then the farmer's market, as you were saying. So, does anyone want to add to? Go ahead.
My favorite part of the like proximity of Mac campus to St. Anne is just the walk. Like,
Yeah.
looking at a body of water. I don't know if I'm making this up, but I don't think I am.
Go ahead.
Looking at a body of water every day
Yeah.
is supposedly like makes you happier, even for like 5 or 10 minutes. And so I enjoy
For your reference.
Citations, please.
I'm just the first year. No, but like going for a nice little walk, like I will just walk to St. Anne with no purpose, just so I can be along the water and like see the little houses and see a few people. Yeah.
And thrifting.
The walk? Oh, the thrifting, yeah.
Nova.
Nova.
It's
We're all
good.
addicted
It's a
to
good thrift
Nova.
store. What were your expectations of Mac before attending, and then the reality? Did it match your expectations? Was it more than you were expecting?
So I literally had 0 expectations and went to like 1,000. But yeah, that's me.
What were, Emma, your expectations
Okay,
of
so
Mac before? Go ahead.
expectations were relatively low because I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, well, I'm far away from the city, which I'm a little nervous about.
Yep.
There's not a lot of people, which I'm a little nervous about. So if I don't like the people, what am I going to do? And then I got to Mac. I really liked the people right off the bat. And then, like, the being far away, like, not far, like, 45-minute shuttle bus, not the end of the world. Being that distance from the city ended up not being that big of a problem. And it comes with all the other benefits of Mac. And, yeah, being able to participate in the things that I do now, like internal committee, which is my favorite, and being a bartender at the Kaylee, like those are, I think, relatively unique to Mac. I think it'd be a little bit harder to get involved in the ways that I wanted to, maybe downtown or at a different school. So expectations were arguably like more than met, like way exceeded.
Do you feel like you go downtown? Like, do you feel connected to downtown Montreal?
I think I do.
Okay.
Because I make the effort.
And I feel like it's nice knowing that there's people, you'll find your people. Like, there's going to be people that love going downtown, want to do that. That's, like, why they chose McGill. Even though it's Mac, you get the small classes and you can stand out really easily, which is kind of what everybody's talking about. It's really easy to stand out and get involved. But you also can hop on the shuttle, go downtown, and there's going to be people that like that. There's going to be people that want to move downtown after their first year, which is pretty common. But there's going to be people that want to stay in St. Anne. Like, St. Anne is their home. They love it. I know, I'm like, yeah, you. But, like, it's nice that you can kind of choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And have the life that you want, but you have a little bit more hand-holding, I feel like, at Mac. A little bit more, you feel like part of a family. and the friends that you make at Mac if you go downtown, which, who lives downtown? You live downtown.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've made friends downtown and then introduced your Mac friends to your downtown friends, or?
Yeah, so I lived in Laird and then Eco, which is like another residence, but it's more of like a house kind of situation. And then I lived in Saint Anne, which was a great house. Like it was a house. Like the rent in Saint Anne is a little bit cheaper, and you have like more space compared to like a place like close to McGill and like Milton and Park area. We also have sometimes like events that invites downtown people to MAG, and it's always like, oh, a friend of friends, like Juan knows someone, and then they meet like Emma, and I was like, Emma's like, oh, I have Daphne, and then I meet John, like kind of situation. Which is super fun.
Can I just
Absolutely.
throw in? We didn't mention Bull Night yet,
Oh.
Yeah.
but that is Mac Campus core.
Yeah.
We have an electric bull come in like once a semester, and at the Kaylee, and then you get to ride the bull.
So I have a question for you now, Juan. How is it being CJET? Like, you were from Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, my CJIP was downtown. I envisioned myself to be downtown. So, like I said at the beginning, like, obviously, like, going to the West Island was probably, like, the last thing that like, was going to define if I was going or not. Determine, sorry. But, honestly, like, I had, like, this expectation that, like, it was going to be a bit lonely, that I was not going to have as much fun, that there was no parties. Because, like, well, obviously, like, I knew the campus just by sight. And I knew St. Anne, and I was like, there's not that much that I know of that, like, there's, like, a party scene. And I feel like that, I mean, I'm guilty, but that was, like, a big thing that, like, coming into university, like, I did want to have that experience.
Yeah.
And we put in the effort, like Emma said, that
Yeah.
to, like, do it. Like, if you truly want to go downtown and do all these things, you will. Or even at MAG, there's always something going on. Like, before a bull night, before music night, there's always, like, people gathering before, and there's, I don't know. And so, like, realistically, like, ever since being at MAG, my expectations just, like, completely went, like, up the roof. Because, like, I did have that fear of, like, not connecting with people the way, like, I imagine it would be downtown. But now I feel like it's the complete opposite. I could not imagine not, like, being downtown and making as many friends and connections as I did at MAC.
But it's like kind of that mixture of these like outdoorsy people that, or there's like March break and we have like Mac Mock, like the outdoors club. They like organize these hikes for like every level. Like I'm a person, I grew up in the city. I did not like go for hikes with my family, but it was super fun to go for their like beginner level hikes and those kind of things.
Ice climbing.
Yeah.
Or the
If you're
ski
into
trip.
that.
Did you go to the? We have a ski
Yeah.
trip.
Let's do this ski
That
trip.
was
MAC
really good.
has MCSS.
Yeah.
The MAC Campus Student Society sets up a whole ski trip for MAC Campus students, and it's so like that's so MAC.
I mean, ski trip was such it's such a bonding weekend
Yeah.
for all of us. Like, I feel like we all, because, like, you're also sharing a house with, like, 10 people, and then there's, like, about 100 people that go, and then
You're cooking together.
you're cooking,
You're
sleeping, you're doing
together.
everything. It's just, and then, obviously, I mean, we're not skiers, and we went this year, and it was still really fun. Like, we still tried skiing, and then
How do you handle winter? I know that was a concern for you. You're not used to winter, I guess.
Used to winter. I
You wanted
just,
somewhere warm.
you know, had some negative thoughts about the cold.
Yeah.
But admittedly, it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
You just got to layer up. I have this
Yeah.
thing where I just don't layer up, but then I complain that it's freezing. But I stopped doing that as much. So now it's okay. And, like, even a walk in the cold can be nice.
Depending on your budget, you invest in those boots. You're gonna wear those boots and that winter jacket your whole university career. I feel like because Montreal has great summers and then a harsh winter, the city makes up for it. Like there's so many things going on even in the winter. There's so many things going on in the summer. Like when summer comes, when we see like upper than 0 degrees, everyone is out. There's like jazz festivals. There's all of these things. Even at MAC, you see the spiteful people. They appear.
Yeah.
It's like they appear out of nowhere. Or we had like a volleyball.
Beach volleyball court.
Yeah, beach volleyball.
Oh, I
court.
loved that. That's really nice.
It's like shorts out, shorts.
You know, you just play volleyball. So I feel like the city makes up for it.
Yeah. Did anyone go to Igloo Fest? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah, we all did
I did
together.
too. Okay, I didn't go with you, but I also went.
Why wasn't
but
I invited?
But you said like Diplo or
I went.
something.
I went to Armin
Next
van
time.
Buren.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
went to a
just
real one.
I
We
went to a
went
good
to-
one. But I just feel like
Something.
that's so Montreal. Like in the winter, there's an outdoor music festival for the audience that doesn't know what Igloo Fest is. There's an outdoor music festival for the month of January and February, the coldest, supposedly, months of the year, and you're outdoors in a music festival. So I feel like you were saying the city does winter well. And then there's cross country. Cross country skiing
Cross
at
country
Mac.
ski at Mac, yeah.
In the Arboretum, too.
Yeah, cross country skiing at the Arboretum. And look, right now Mac Athletics, I think they give like they rent skis for free now. So like
Yeah.
in the summer they rent bikes for free, and then in the winter they rent cross country skis for free. There's snowshoes. They also rent snowshoes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to shift the conversation. We talked a lot about fun and all the fun things to do, but we are also a university and we have studies. So what are some of your favorite classes that you've had at Mac?
I'll say as a food major, I
Yeah.
will say like the food labs are
Yeah.
really fun. Like we actually have like I don't know if you guys have been able to like go into like our labs. Like it really is like
Yeah.
kitchen, like a massive kitchen with like a bunch of ovens, like basically anything you want in a kitchen is probably there. And we just would have like these weekly labs where it's like, okay, the topic of this week is, I don't know, like grains, and I'll come up with like a grain like meal, and then everyone has to try it, rate it, and then learn from it. And I think like being able to have like that experience with like food is really cool.
Like the hands-on learning.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things about Mac, I didn't share it, but I also went here. And I love that we have a lot of hands-on learning opportunities like inside the classroom. And one of that was the food lab. And we made homemade pasta.
We have some labs like in what we call like the machine shop.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of tools. We have like these tools I had no idea about. Like now I use them all the time, but like I didn't know what like about like welding. Like we have a plasma cutter that is also like autonomous like that. And like a bunch of like woodworking tools and stuff. So you'll have some classes there, but then you also have like other students like working on their own personal projects. Like I feel like Mac is like a really great place to like do like prototyping because like you have access to the facilities. You learn something in class and then you want to apply it in some way that like you're able to express yourself and do it like in your own way. Tractors wouldn't have been my number one choice, but like then I found out like it doesn't really matter. Like I was like kind of interested in robotics and like control system like software programming, and I heard like our campus like had like a design team, and like my frosh leader like gently peer pressured me into like giving it a try.
And I also know with like engineering, there's like competitions like QAC, Quebec Engineering Competition, where you guys like set people.
Yeah.
I know like this year they did really well, and they
We
always,
always do well. Like I don't know why we always like have like some like teams winning like the
Yeah, someone
Canadian
always
level.
wins.
Like I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Because we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
What's your favorite class?
So yeah. Well, my favorite class is I'm in microbiology, and I love all of my microbiology profs, but one of them is my favorite, Dr. Brian Driscoll. Yes, I have to say the full name.
Yes.
And he has this class like microbial ecology that I'm taking like at the moment, and we learn about these like super like different like microbes and bacteria, and I also took environmental microbiology, which the prof actually like does work with like NASA and like life on Mars. And then one of my like TAs and also like profs like went to Arctic, Antarctica, and then we had to like work with a soil sample from Arctic. And I was like, whoa. Like, I'm like a scientist. And I'm taking these like classes which are super niche, but also still like you're like, whoa, I didn't know this like job existed, or like this kind of like research existed. Or fun facts to share with your friends and family.
One big thing that I'm looking really forward for dietetics is the fact that like in our program we have like stage or internship, whichever you know better, but it's part of their program. So like before we graduate, we are sent to like different locations to like do stage. And the good part is that like we don't need to stress about like finding a stage. We don't need to stress about like contacting anyone to like get a position or anything. The school puts us, and it's fair, and everyone gets the same amount of work and the same like type of rotations. And like, I mean, Emma spoke about this earlier, that McGill is like such an international school and allows us that. We get to do like stages in Montreal and or surroundings, but we can also go like abroad. I know there's two big ones. The main ones with dietetics are Ghana
Oh.
and Barbados. I always say Bahamas, but it is Barbados because we have affiliated clinics there. So like,
Yeah, we have a satellite campus in Barbados.
This semester I also take calc and physics and linear algebra by choice for some reason, and another environment class. And I really like all my classes, but and I just want to say, like, I don't know if I have a favorite per se, but I feel honestly like privileged that I have such great freshman teachers.
How is it taking all of these classes all at once?
It's manageable.
Well, you're taking a lot of STEM classes all at once. And this
Yeah.
is like across the board in any faculty of science and engineering at McGill. Like, you have to take all these classes. Just at Mac, we have it where your biggest class is 200 instead of 600. And then we have these profs that know you first name.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they know you makes things a lot easier. So they're very like accessible. And I won't say the material's easy. Like, it's not. Calc is hard. But they give you the tools that you need to succeed, which is really helpful. They give you problem sets and they post all of the work that they do in class so that you can follow along on like by yourself. And so I think as long as you put in the time, you like can definitely be successful.
I remember when I was taking all these classes at once because I didn't have advanced standing. I took bio, chem, physics, chemistry all at once. And I think what I found really helpful was that everybody was doing it together.
Yes, in Laird, it's the struggle. Like when it's midterm season, everyone is like eating their food and doing work at the same time.
Yeah.
Like hallways are quiet. Everyone is locked in.
How is living in Laird?
It's been good for me, honestly.
Okay.
I got really lucky. I have a fantastic roommate. Like I could not have asked for better. And honestly, most of the people that I know also got a roommate that fits them pretty well. Cooking with people is really fun. I remember like when I was looking into Mac, that was like one of the things that was advertised. Like the kitchens are like kind of like a little bit of a community because you talk to people and you're chefing up together and you can make food together and people are from all over the world, so they get to, you know, make interesting things that you might not make yourself, which is really fun. And you can do like Friendsgiving really easily. So that's really like sweet. Like I don't think all reses get that.
Yeah.
And it's also really nice because I can wake up 5 minutes before class. I don't do that. I wake up half an hour before class.
Well, that's really good of you.
But like, you could
I would.
theoretically wake up 5 minutes before class and you will be there. You will make it. Like it's a 2.5 minute walk. So it just goes to show like in terms of getting to classes, it's just incredibly easy at Mac.
Do you recommend for first year students? Like I meet a lot of first year students that are wondering if they should live in residence at Mac or just live downtown for the first year at Mac. Would you recommend living in residence at Mac?
Good question. Okay, so when I think I emailed you about this like before I got to Mac, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I want to live in res at Mac. And then I was talking to someone and they were like, you're gonna be fine. Like just go. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. Like whatever. It's just 1 year. If I hate it, like I'll live downtown next year. And so I ended up living at Laird, and I think it was the best decision for me because I got to know all these people really well. And
you're having so many Friendsgivings.
Yeah.
You're like cooking together.
We cook together. Like we do a lot of things together. I have a lot of different like groups of friends too. Floors become little communities, honestly. If I'm living downtown next year, then I'll have to do the commute. So it's like 1 less year.
But you have, in your second year, you have a little bit more freedom in the classes that you choose.
Yeah, so you can take some downtown and some at Mac if you want.
Yeah.
And then also with like timing, you get a little bit more like flexibility.
So much happens in the shuttle.
I know. Like,
So much happens.
We had a shuttle bus, like, together.
Yes.
We just talked.
We just talked the whole shuttle.
Yeah.
Or you could just sleep.
Or sleep.
Yeah.
There's endless opportunities on the shuttle. I didn't mind the shuttle. Do you mind the shuttle commute?
No.
Don't. Like, I mean, as someone from Montreal, like, I'm so used to, like, commuting.
Yeah.
Like, I never lived, like, next door to my school or anything. So, like, I'm used to, like, taking buses and taking the metro and doing that.
Also, one thing about like Montreal is that it's a really safe city.
And just adding on to res, like to the question of as a first year, should I live at Mac or downtown? I feel like living at Mac your first year, you meet everybody, as you're saying. You transition really well from high school to university. And then you know the city. Like in your first year, we're all saying Mac students that go downtown, like you know downtown.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew downtown better than my friends that live downtown in my first year.
Because you're all excited when you come here. So you're just
Yeah.
like, I want to explore every block. And then you do. And then if you want to live downtown, you're now like kind of a professional.
Exactly, because for us at Mac, you're not really living in this like McGill bubble. You're living at Mac.
Yeah.
So when you
So
come downtown, you're not. There's no bubble. You're just like, okay, I'm here. What advice would you give to someone
Yes.
in their first year or coming in to prepare themselves, or that you wish that you had done at McGill, at Mac?
I do actually have an answer.
Tell me.
I feel like you don't need to do everything at once or know everything at once. And there's like, it's never late to like try things, or no one will like laugh at you or make fun of you if you, you know, reached out to someone. It can be profs. Like, it can be really, like, nerve-wracking to be like, hey, can I see my paper? Like that email. Like, I remember writing that email, which took like 2 sentences for 1 hour. Some people know their career path right away. They're like this and that. Or you're in like more like a clinical-based program, so it's like you know what you're gonna do after. It can be really nerve-wracking, and I do say this to myself still, but you don't have to figure everything out at the same time, all at once, and don't miss the opportunities because you're thinking about it. Just do it, and then you'll see what's gonna happen. And because you're at Mac, you have that safety cushion. So like,
I feel like there's such a security net with, because you know everybody, you know the profs. You feel like you can go out of your comfort zone a little bit more, and you'll be safe. Like, you'll be okay. Everyone's there to support you. But advice.
I think for a lot of the programs at Mac, we have a really high like teacher to student ratio.
Yeah.
I did want to say, like, my personal advice is just, like, get involved, which you are already doing. So it's not
so involved. She's
so,
been there for like 3
yeah.
months.
I'm like, maybe for the audience,
Yeah.
but like I would
Audience.
definitely say, like, get involved. It's so easy to do it. Like,
Yeah.
for the first 2 years of McGill, I was not involved, and I barely knew anyone. I knew a few, and then it really takes that one person that like invites you to an event, and then that you just cannot stop getting involved.
I totally agree. I feel like that makes or breaks your time at McGill,
Yeah.
or like in general.
And it's
No,
like cheating
yeah.
because it's like
Yeah.
you're supposed to have to choose between like having a social life, like school, and like you know, like doing stuff. But it's like, what if you do it at the same time?
But basically, like, once you get like involved, I find that like you realize that you have so many like-minded people.
Yes.
And I feel like you truly make your bubble of like, I mean, all of us, like, we will go out on like a Friday night, and Saturday, like at midday, we're at the library. All like literally the same group, just because it really is just a question of like balancing school and fun. And it's so easy to do it with like-minded.
Do you feel like you have a good balance of like fun and school?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I feel like my schedule, like, I know which dates I can like do stuff and which days I can like grind at the library. Like, it really is easy. Like, and I mean, even if you can take like 5 courses a semester and stuff like that, you can still very much manage your schedule. I mean, as a student who works and still goes out, like, I do believe that like my schedule is fine. Like, I don't feel overwhelmed by it.
You learn a lot about time management.
Yes.
You learn a lot. I also feel like getting involved, there's a lot of different paths you can take in your life, and like I feel like as soon as you get involved, you really find your niche that you might not be able to discover in a classroom. So I'm going on to my next question. What do you think, and one of my last ones, because I don't know what time it is. What do you think is the biggest misconception about Mac? I think for me, this is really small and a little funny. The D in McDonald is not capitalized. So that's my misconception, but there's probably like better ones. I just want to get that one out of the way and address it.
I think the biggest one, and I mean, fair enough, because like we do have cows near our campus, but that we are just a bunch of like farmers.
Yeah.
But like the reality is that like we are still very much like city people. Like the majority of us like live downtown and come to Mac.
Anyone want to add? Go
I
ahead.
think there's a misconception that Mac people don't go out, that they're like just like isolated in this little like Mac bubble. But that's not true. Like, if you want to go out, where there's a will, there's a way. Like, there are definitely groups of people who make things happen. Not everyone, that's their choice, but like there are also people downtown that I know that also don't go out.
Yeah.
So no, you're not like isolated and like not gonna go out if you like want to go out.
Totally. Or like they don't go downtown.
Yeah.
Like go out at all, or just like know the downtown Montreal at all. So like I never went to the farm really. But I went to Mac Market. That was like my farmer's market.
Oh my god.
I worked
Mac
there.
Market.
I worked at Mac
Really?
Market, yeah.
That's my favorite thing about Mac is the farmer's market. Like we grow our own produce and sell it on
So
campus.
nice.
And
It's
sell it
so
to
good.
downtown, too.
And sell it to downtown. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
McGill
that-
feeding McGill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
All our
it's
produce is in the dining hall. Eggs, I think, too, are in the dining halls downtown.
definitely
um,
sustainable practices, and it's profitable, which is cool, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's cool that it's a research facility that's profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Like,
super
that's
cheap. You get this like huge basket for like $20 per student.
Yeah.
And you eat it for like the whole, even like 2 weeks sometimes.
Another thing that I want to mention is because we're such a small campus, we really get the advantage of having more one-on-one with like career planning services, with the wellness hub, with your professors, as we mentioned before. But if they ever have like a career event, it's always in the Kaylee. Like you're never gonna miss it. It's really accessible, and I think that's something that I would give advice, like my little piece of advice. Take advantage of those little events, because that one career event where you meet with the internship officer, she can help you find an internship, and that like sets you up for your future. But those little events are so helpful, and you really are in such a great position to be at McGill, surrounded by like-minded people, surrounded by people that are just there to help you, and you don't really get that once you graduate. You don't have this built-in support system, or like you're not surrounded by people that are in this, have the same interests as you at school. So I think it's take advantage, because when you graduate, you don't, well, you can do your master's and then you have it all. But Mac's very special that we have this small communities, tight-knit community, but then we also have all of downtown to explore. Is there anything that you'd like to share that you didn't get to talk about or that I didn't ask you about?
Mac is just so like progressive, so environmentally friendly, so out there that like if that is something that like you truly like connect with, like it is basically like the place for you. Like I do believe that like you will meet such strong connections and people like that really like have your back and see the world the way you do as well. I mean, like racial diversity is such a big thing at Mac as well. I feel like we also have like a lot of opportunities to like learn about yourself and about other people, but also about the world. Like I don't know, like it's just like something that like is so cool about Mac that like always brings a smile to my face when I think about like how like all of us are so like enthusiastic.
But it's really cool seeing how Mac people can really stand out and grow because we're so much smaller. You can really shine, and it's incredible seeing everybody shine in their journey. What was it like? How would you compare? Actually, my two Americans going to a school in Canada versus the States. Do you think it's like what are the differences, similarities between going
Wanna go first?
a U.S. school and a Canadian
Yeah.
school?
One of like the main things for coming to Mac versus like my other option of going to a state school is that I could really be like find myself as a new person, because by coming here, I'm not going in the same place as like high school 2.0, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
I like met a lot more different people. That was a difference. I'm not sure I would have had the same kind of experience if I was in the States. Yeah.
What'd you say?
I would say I agree with a lot of the things that you just said, if not all. It's kind of nice that it's just disconnected from where I'm from. Like it was just, I wanted something different. Like being in Montreal, it's also looks different than any American city, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Really like starting over, like completely, like reinventing yourself if you want to. There's a greater level of independence, and like I feel like I could trust most of the people that I'm friends with to like really exist on their own.
Yeah. So I think that answers all the questions that I have for you today. I want to thank you all for sharing so much, sharing a lot of personal stories too. It means a lot to me, to each other, to people watching, and thank you all for showing up and sharing and being here. And Mac Frosh, best Frosh.
Please do Frosh.
Thank you for having us. This has been very fun.
I'm so glad. Thank you, everybody. And ooh, I'm good. And if you're watching and you have any questions, the audience, check out our website. I hope that you feel more connected, that you can see yourself here, see yourself among my peers here. And we hope to see you in the fall.
Bye.